So today is Dear Journal time. What do I mean by that? So this is my journal, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to Faith Costa, the beautiful model and artist. She sells these journals on Society 6, right? Where you can buy customizable notebooks, blankets, pillows, anything from artists and creatives. So this again is my journal. I also have this as a print. I just think that this is just really, really gorgeous. And I like to journal. I've been journaling since I was 6 years old. I've been writing and creating really since I was 6. And for me, journaling, why do I journal? A couple of reasons. So opening it up to share my thoughts with you. First, for me, clarity is really key in life. I think that so many of us are making decisions because there are expectations, there are things that we're supposed to do, but ultimately we need to get really clear on who we are and what do we want, right? And it's not just out of the big picture items, but it's really everything, right? What do I want out of January? It's a new year. This program's entitled Dear Journal, New Year, Best Me, right? Not new you, because who you are is amazing. Can we fine tune? Of course we can always fine tune, but we have to stop coming from a place of deficiency and really come from a place of overwhelming prosperity, right? So who you are is enough already, but how can we amplify? How can we make it even more fabulous, right? So best you, not new you, best you. And journaling for me has always been a part of how I've been able to steer a path that I want for myself. And because I have clarity in the things that I'm writing, and I journal every day. I actually have several journals, but this is my journal for like personal writing, personal reflection. I actually do journaling every day that has prompted questions. I don't know if you guys like to answer questions. I like to ask a lot of questions. So of course I want to be answering questions as well. So I have journals that ask me questions and write a poem and different writing prompts that I use because it helps kind of build creative juices for myself and for all projects I'm involved in. So I definitely find that clarity comes from journaling, from writing, from spending time with my thoughts, spending time with things that I'm working through. Also, right, we all have people in our lives that upset us, that kind of make us feel uncomfortable, that make us upset, right? And we have to work through that. And I'm not a fan of getting on Facebook and like bitching and moaning about that. I'm really a fan of just kind of going inward and why did this person upset me? What did they say? And working through it and working through, I don't like when people do right? And then flipping the script, right? What is the problem? And then writing out the solution. Why? Because it makes it more concrete and solidifies the fact that yes, there's a problem. Yes, there's an obstacle, but we can overcome it and we can write through that. And that's my process. And so anyone else who's a writer, anyone else who's even struggling, trying to figure out how do they get through conflict, I always recommend journaling. Work through it with yourself, right? The me, you, I, and everything in between and all the personalities that live inside, right? Work through it. So that's why I journal. So now let's talk about New Year Best Me. What were things that I wrote in my journal that I'm going to apply to make 2019 the best year possible that it can be, right? And it might not be the best year general. I don't know. I'm not a seer, right? And that's not something to focus on. What can we do to make the most out of this year? I think that that's a concern we all can have because it's something that is applicable, right? Whether you plan for it or not, the year is going to continue as long as you are blessed to be alive. So what are we going to do, right? January is nearly over, which is a little bit scary. I know. Put on some glasses. I know. But we can work through it. There's still some time left. And then what can we do into February and January, March, April, the whole kabam. Okay. Number one, patience is the name of the game. So all my life, I'm going to get really honest with you. Okay. So all my life, I've been told by my parents, by my family, by close loved ones that I can be very impatient, right? That for me, when I'm working through things, I'm like my classic phrase, you're welcome to use it. You can just, quote me, is move with purpose, move with purpose, move with purpose. I say it to my husband maybe every day or every other day, right? Whenever I'm running to an event or I'm doing something, move with purpose. Let's get it done. Do. And the voice octave starts getting higher and higher. And, that's Jamaica. It's being a New Yorker. It's a lot that's going on behind why I do that. But more now than ever, especially in my business as a coach, as a consultant, as a writer, I have found that we have to move with purpose, but we also have to remember that just because you have a timetable in your mind doesn't mean what? That anyone else is working on that timetable. It doesn't mean that that timetable is actually a realistic timetable, nor does it mean that that timetable is actually going to get played out in real life. And that can be very frustrating, right? Because in your mind, you're like, okay, I have 5 hours to do something, and then you're working on like maybe task 1, and then you're 3 hours in, and you're like, oh crap, I only have 2 more hours, right? And then the anger and the frustration and holla. Let's take a step back and remember that patience is the name of the game. Whether it is to get dressed, whether it is to get out of bed, whether it is to write a business proposal, whether it is to research a contact who you have to reach out to, whether it is to practice for school, whether it is to learn a new song, whether it is to perfect your modeling, whatever you're doing, you have to embrace patience. I've been told this and I have fought it my entire life, and I've succumbed in 2018. I said, okay, I get what everyone's talking about. Why? Because I was constantly getting frustrated with the fact that either I wanted someone else to do something a certain way, I wanted to move faster at something, I needed this to move ... right? We all have moments, probably more than once in a day, where we're saying this needs to happen quicker. You need to do this, ... right? All of these expectations are not allowing for patience. Now, I'm not saying slow your roll and like, oh, I don't have to accomplish things, it'll just happen. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is sometimes we're not aware of the time it takes for something to happen, for someone to do something. So yes, be persistent. Yes, continue working towards the goal. But if something takes 3 days instead of 1 day, don't give up. Don't beat yourself up. Don't get frustrated. Start cursing. Start speaking patois, right? Like, hold your horses. Am I moving forward? Yes. Is this taking longer than I want it to? Yes. But am I going to let this derail me? No. Right? That's the type of processing. So when I see that this is happening, I really I wouldn't tell you anything I wouldn't tell myself. I have to say, okay, Natasha, stop. This is taking longer because of, identify what the holdup is, right? Can this be solved, or is that a part of the process? You figure out kind of the logistics, the tactical side of it, and then say, okay, what is the new estimated date or time this will be accomplished? And we adjust the calendar, we adjust the schedule, but we have to be patient with ourselves. We have to be patient with life, because again, life will deliver what we want it to deliver, as long as, all things aligned are there. And sometimes when things don't happen, that's a part of the plan as well. We just don't know that because we're not seers. But ultimately, patience is going to help you be far more calm, far more collected, far more easier to work with, right? Because if we're huffing and puffing, are people going to deliver answers to us quicker? No. Are people going to be more pleasant to work with you? No. You're just going to be the angry person in the room. And most likely you will start to what? Impede getting what you want done. So patience, patience is the name of the game for this year. FYI, your life. But we can just start with implementing it for this year. Okay? Next one. Do the work, stop checking the clock. So I say this because this is similar to patience, but there are people who I'm working with, right, and that I know that have started businesses, and they get frustrated because what? Maybe it's taking 6 months and things aren't up, moving forward. Maybe it's taking 3 years and things aren't moving as fast as they could be or should be, whatever expectation we're having in our mind, right? And not to say that you're not allowed to have expectations or projections for things. Of course, you can, but when they don't begin to be fulfilled, how you respond is what's going to determine your next steps. Because, for instance, if you are starting a business, and I'd love if you are starting a business or have started a business and things have taken longer, please put that in the comments. Share kind of your insight and wisdom on the subject. But for people who wanted to get something started and maybe a year, just go with a year has passed by and they're like, oh, this didn't jump off, I'm just going to leave it because this isn't working. Is it not working because it just didn't work in a year? Or is it that you need to understand that you have XY things that you need to do? And guess what? This might be a 7-year venture before it starts to pop off. But you have got to have the resolve to keep working, stop looking at the clock. Right now, granted, if there are reasons and justifications as to why you no longer want to proceed, maybe you feel like it's not a viable product, it's not a viable business. You've done, extensive testing and due diligence to determine that. Then fine, understand. Not everything we move forward with, not everything we start is something that we continue on with for years and years and years. Totally understand that. But to give up in 3 months, to give up in 2 weeks, I didn't hear from this person, in 2 days, I'm just done, is not reasonable. And it's not, you're worthier than that. And I really just want you to focus on that because again, this is something I have to say to myself. There's certain projects and things that I'm working on where, of course you would like to see certain progress or certain movement in a certain part of it faster or more extensively. Of course, human nature, we crave for things. We're creatures. Animals need things. People need things. We want accolades. We want affirmations, all of that good stuff. But maybe that comes 5 years, right? And not 2 years. Maybe that comes in 7 years and not 5 years, right? But the point is keep doing the work, keep pushing no matter how hard that might be, because maybe you are a person who really kind of shines once you get affirmation along the way. But again, what are you doing this for? Are you doing this for the clap on the back or tap on the back, or are you doing this because you need to get shit done? If you need to get shit done, keep working, keep your head down, keep doing what you need to do. Stop eyeing that clock because the clock is always going to tick, but you doing work may or may not, depending upon how distracted and unfocused you are. Okay, so number 1 is patience is the name of the game. Number 2, keep doing work, stop watching the clock. All right, number 3, success is for those who prepare for it. So I say this because, I've done some workshops already this year, planning for some for the next couple of months. And what really baffles me over and over and over again is the idea that people will say things like this. Oh, I will be ready when I need to be ready for something. So what's interesting about that statement is a couple of things. First of all, how do you know you don't already need to be ready now? Are you a seer? Do you know the future? Do you know who's looking at your accounts, who's checking into you to see if they want to offer you an opportunity? But if you're not ready now and you're presupposing there'll be a time you'll be ready at a later date, is that helpful? Is that going to yield success for you? Probably not, right? If you need to be ready in the future, then you need to be ready now. Success is for those who are ready for it now, not some point in the future. So please think about that. So what does that mean for, I'll get tactical for business owners at least, right? Success can be defined in so many different ways. But if you're talking about, revenue, if we're talking about social media, if we're talking about branding, things like that, those are things that have to be worked on now, that have to be worked on tomorrow, next week, 3 months from now, 3 years from now, right? So just really when it comes to, oh, I need to learn more about SEO. Oh, I need to really learn how to market myself better on Facebook. Oh, I need to really work on how do I pitch myself better? How do I pitch my business? That is not something that you need to book into the calendar 3 months from now. It's called now, right? It's called, I will do something 15 minutes a day for the next 3 months. How about that? How about them apples, right? So that way, 3 months from now, you've actually been doing work consistently. And then that way, when you do have the opportunity to pitch your business 3 months from now, you're actually what? Ready? She ready, right? Yes. This idea that I'm going to presupposedly be ready in the future, yet I haven't worked on it anytime between now and then is nonsense. It's nonsense. Oh, so sad. So please spare yourself the heartache. Get to it. Okay? So next, and ladies and gentlemen, tuning in on the live, on the replay, these words I want you to heed with your life. You understand me? Like, you can agree? This is what I'm going to give you the gem to so far the secret that I've had for booking public speaking, for booking paid business events, for booking clients. What do you need to do? Send an email. Send an email. I do not know how many times people have said to me, oh, well, I'd like to do some public speaking. Oh, I'd like to get some more business. Send an email. That's really what it takes, guys. I'm booking workshops. I'm booking events by sending one email. And guess what? The person replies, and then we have a conversation. But you've got to put yourself out there. There's a book called Ask and It Is Given. If you're not familiar and you're like, what are you talking about, Natasha? I need to know. You can put in the comments and I will reply back to you and share that title for you. Ask and It Is Given. The Law of Attraction, The Secret. There's so many books out here. We're actually going to read about The Secret in the Dressing Room Mate Book Club a little bit later this year that speak to the idea of you and the universe having a relationship. For you to get what you want, you have to put out the intention. And one of the best ways to put out intention is what? Sending an email. Send an email. Send an email. Send an email. Send an email, right? Remember the movie You've Got Mail? Yes. Yes, right? Like, you've got to send an email. I want to do XYZ. Send an email. The same advice I give you, I apply every single week, and I book events and business because I'm sending an email. That's all I ask for you. So if you are looking to make money, if you are looking to brand yourself, if you are looking to get out there, send an email to these individuals, to these outlets that create opportunities. And listen, for me, even recently I had an opportunity, and so what happened was I was like, oh, maybe I should just send an email. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. And guess what? I got the yes, and I got all sorts of other things that came from that. But you've got to, and I understand the doubt, right? The self-doubt is like, oh, should I do it? I want you to, every time you start to doubt yourself, start to say, Natasha said, yes, do it, right? Figure it out. At least move towards figuring out why yes or no is the answer for you. Not everything is for you. And I would never prescribe that everything you need to do in life. But I will say that if you're thinking about something, please move forward. If it means talking to Google, going on the Google machine and figuring out, okay, is this for me? Do I want to do this? But at least take action is what I'm trying to say, right? I just don't want people to sit and just kind of, fiddle around. I don't know. No, send an email, talk to someone, get a mentor, all of that stuff. Okay. So send an email, send an email, send an email, send an email. I hope that's really clear. What did I say? Send an email. Okay, cool. Next, try something new. It won't kill you. And I say this because there are many ramifications of this. Right? Changing maybe your look. This year I'm going to be doing lots of different cosplay accessories. A, because they make me happy, but B, because I think that it's just, I want to be fun, right? And I enjoy dress up. Halloween is my favorite holiday. Try something new. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's not, guys. Same thing with outfits. Fashion, I talk a lot, and I have guest bloggers that come on my blog on dressingroommate.com that talk about the importance of fashion and certain fashion things to keep in mind for your body and your life. Try something new. Try a new color. It's a new year. Try something new. If you haven't sent an email, try sending an email. If you haven't, booked and attended a conference, try going to a conference this year. Try something new. Will every time you try something new, you'll love it? No. But at the end of the day, we have to push ourselves out of the point of comfortability, because why? That's really where growth happens. Growth doesn't happen when you're stagnant. No one says, wow, I'm so glad that I did exactly the same thing every day for the rest of my life. I grew, I developed. No, no one is saying that. Growth usually is happening from every moment of uncomfortability. Every moment of, oh crap, I didn't know I could do this, and now I did. Or, oh man, how am I going to do this? And you do it, and you're freaking amazed. You're an all-star, amazing person. But there was that moment of fear, uncomfortability. Get over it. Get over it. Get over it. Send the email. Get over it. Try something new. All right. Next. And this is something that I've been plagued with ever since I've started coaching. And it upsets my heart because I know that we're worthy of more. So what am I talking about? When I'm speaking to a client, right? And they're saying, well, I just don't know how to get started. For me, I think in like equations and checklists, just because my Virgo mind, that's just how I work. I see in my mind, I don't know equals I don't care to find out. I don't know means I'm not hungry enough. I don't know means I don't want to be successful. Those are the types of equations that start running through my mind when I hear that. Why? Because there's something called Google.com. There's no excuse. There is no excuse any day, any moment, any year in your life for you to say, I don't know, and you think that that's an actual valid excuse. It's not. It's bullshit. FYI, it's bullshit. So if you are happy living in that space of bullshit, then have at it. Live in that bullshit arena. Go ahead, do your damn thing, right? But for those of you who are like, no, Natasha, I do want to do this. I do want to write that book. I do want to further and get my art out there. I do want to start modeling. I want to grow my business. Cool. So you and me are going to now what? We're going to think about this phrase and we're never going to say it again. I don't know how. Boom, boom, boom. Take it out. X, X, S, X, X, X. You will never say it ever again to yourself. You will never write it. You'll never think it. You will never say it to anyone. I don't know is bullshit. If you don't know something, literally, I want you to go to google.com, type in your exact question. How do I start writing a book? Type it in. How do I start modeling? Type it in. How do I become an inventor? Type it in. There is no excuse for I don't know. Okay? So new year, best you means you're not saying I don't know how. I don't know X, right? None of that bullshit. So if you can agree to that, I'd love a heart. I'd like a comment, affirm that because that would make my day, but also I think it will save you years and years of wasted time, years and years of regrets. Please, please, please send the email. Stop saying I don't know how. It's bullshit. All right. Next, take out the trash. Physically, metaphysically, spiritually, take out the trash, guys. For me, I have prospered in the types of opportunities I've been a part of, the ways that, and the empowerment I feel personally, the emotional self-esteem, the empowerment to just move forward and try new things, to be a part of new ventures, literally, and thank you, Terry Ann, I appreciate that, by taking out the trash. Meaning what? I spend very little time talking to quote unquote friends because why? The people that were quote unquote friends were people that only bitched and moaned. They were only complaining. Complainers, get it? You're unhappy. Cool. Negative people, you're unhappy. That's why you're lashing out at me. Cool. ... Right? There's toxic, negative people in your life, at your job, in your family, in your business, ... But sometimes you have to identify not only that this is happening, but you have to take it a step further. You have to say, is this something I want? Is this something I need? Do I deserve better? I think you deserve everything because I think I deserve everything. I think every human being deserves everything. Anything you can dream of, anything that you want, you deserve it. Because if you thought it, then you want it. You told the universe, let's make it happen. Right? It's really that like kind of linear in thinking. So if you don't feel like being spoken to like crap, if you don't feel like dealing with people who only want to bring down you and your day because they're so miserable, they're just literally like a walking, talking source of like toxic green ooze, and that's what they are, take out the trash. Take out the trash. So you can do a couple of things, right? So with this one, you can and this is what I recommend. I'm a Virgo. So Virgos, what? We don't typically tolerate nonsense if we don't want it, right? So for me, don't talk to a lot of people because a lot of people are what? toxic, negative folks. Now, if you're talking to them to help them, to be in service to them, that's fine. But when I'm talking about personal relationships, like friendships, like people who you are choosing to spend your time with, and it's not about business, but it's about fun time, right? Quote unquote fun time. Why are you being upset? Why are you angered? This is fun time. Fun time needs to be fun times. If you can't deliver fun for me, then we don't need to party. We don't need to hang out, right? So I hope that that's clear. And if it's not, please put that in the comments. Fun time is fun time. Right now, are people always fun? No, of course not. I understand people have bad days, they have but it doesn't mean that they need to hang out with you at this moment, right? We all are in charge of our schedules and how we filter ourselves, and we should be filtering ourselves, because you being upset and then going and dumping on someone else is not adding to their day, it's making their day worse. So try to be considerate, right? So there's that. If you're not a cut them all out kind of a person like I am, then what you can do is you can set up boundaries, you can create boundaries, and you can say, okay, these are things that I really would prefer not to talk about, or, please don't speak to me in this way, please don't use these phrases, and you can entertain them in your life, but then kind of put them on a leash for what they can and can't do. And I know that sounds very tragic and very extreme, but the reason why you need to do this is self-preservation, right? So the same way if your plane is going down and you're on an airplane, you got to put that oxygen on the oxygen mask on your face first before you can ever help anyone next to you. You've got to self-preserve. Self-preservation is key. You cannot help anyone else if you have nothing to help from you, right? You've got to be here to help others. You have to be here to serve others. So that's really what it means for me. So for me, I recommend option number 1, cut that shit out. Take the trash out, fully done, right? But of course I'll be transparent, right? Are there people in my lives that are super negative that I have to still tolerate? Yeah. I don't actually need to tolerate them. I'm choosing to tolerate them. So then what do? I create boundaries, and I really limit the amount of time I talk to them and on the subjects that we talk about. Or I talk to the person and I have boundaries with them. So yeah, they might feel uncomfortable and they don't know what to say. Too damn bad. Change your attitude. Stop being a negative demon. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, right? So that's what I do. Those are my recommendations. If you're struggling with that, and I don't know anyone who's not struggling with it, to be honest. If you are and you'd like to talk about that, if you want me to do another kind of live stream about it, workshop, let me know, okay? But I really, really recommend taking out the trash. If you want to have the most out of 2019, we have 11 months and change going. That's a lot of time to deal with bullshit. That's a lot of time to deal with negativity. Cut it out. Figure out how you're going to change the situation, right? Then next, read like your life depended on it. So last year, I read 62 books. Yep, and I was proud of that. Could I have read more? Yeah, I could have read more. I needed to prioritize reading even more. So what are my goals this year? Technically speaking, I just want to be on the up, right? So technically, I only need to read 63 books or more this year. I just want to keep going up. But what is my goal? 100 books for the year. So read like your life depended on it, because so many of you, I think a self-preservation workshop would be useful for people. Awesome, Tara. I will schedule that on the calendar. Thanks, Boo. For me, reading is not only just a personal haven of just happiness and peace, but reading is how we grow our minds. Now, I'm not just talking about books. I'm also talking about blogs. I'm talking about articles. How many of you feel like you're the best writer ever? How many of you feel like you could totally, you're like Jane Eyre? Okay, yeah. We all have shit that we can work on, right? So let's keep it 100 for sure. And if you say, hey, I'm not a great writer, boom, shut that trap hole up, because you're talking negatively about yourself. That is unnecessary. The narrative is, I want to work on being a better writer, so I will be reading Jane Eyre, and I will be reading Moby Dick and Charles Dickens and the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, right? How we improve is not going around telling the world what we're bad at. That's bullshit. That's telling the universe, please continue to deliver moments for us to kind of suck or fail at, right? Stop the bullshit. If you want to improve on something, stop saying you're bad. Start changing the narrative and saying, I want to be a better chef, so I will, or cook, however you want to call yourself. So I'm going to start cooking dinner 3 times a week. I want to become a better writer, so I'm going to start writing a blog once a week, right? Change the narrative. If you identify a problem that you have in your life, in your personal, in your business, whatever, what are you doing to do differently, right? Because just going around, oh, I'm so bad at that. I'm so bad at math. What does that do? It doesn't do anything. All it does is reaffirm the insecurity that you have and the quote unquote badness that you're existing in, right? No one else knows this. When we go around and telling people I'm bad at this, they didn't know you were a bad cook. They didn't know you were a terrible writer, but you then went out and told them that. So I don't know. Do you feel good about that? I don't feel good talking shit about myself. So stop it. It's a part of self-preservation. And switch the narrative, okay? So read like your life depended on it. And I say this to say, every day, can we read 15 minutes a day? Yes. What should we be reading? Depends on what your reading purpose is. If you're a business owner like myself, then you need to be reading entrepreneur.com, inc.com. You need to be reading Seth Godin book. You need to be reading business books, marketing books, social media books, networking strategies, business strategy. And then also, what do you layer in there? Happy books, fun books, ... If you're reading and you're saying, I need to be a better writer, cool. What do you need to read? Wall Street Journal, New York Times, classic literature books, because it's going to force you to see construction differently in English. And then what do? You pair that with writing every single week, every single day. And then what will you see in 3 months, in 6 months? Actual improvement? Oh, I know. I'm such a genius, right? Come on, guys. Like, you know the deal. You know the deal. But that's okay, because I'm here to help remind you and give you that information. Okay? So read like your life depended on it. We all have different reasons and things that we need to improve on in our life. Reading is absolutely a part of that process. I'm totally dismayed why people refuse to read. And if you say to me, if your excuse is, oh, well, Tasha, I don't have time. I'm so busy. Oh, really? So when you're in the bathroom and you're doing whatever you're doing in there, you don't have time to turn on an audiobook? You don't have time to open up a book? Bullshit. I call bullshit bullshit. If you are using the bathroom at any point in the day, you have time to read. So don't cut the bullshit, like cut it out and get with it. All right. So that's pretty much what I had written in my journal. And again, thank you, Faith Costa. Beautiful journal. All that I have left for you, beautiful people, is the following. What do I need you to do? I need you to share this video with at least 3 people. Why? Because I want the message to be heard as far and wide as possible. And if you enjoyed this, thank you for tuning in live. Thank you for watching this on the replay. I couldn't do this without you, so I greatly appreciate it. Please share this out with people, all right? I really, really appreciate that. Next, are you subscribed to my monthly newsletter? If not, go to dressingroom8.com. Please sign up for my newsletter. I greatly appreciate your support, but then also I want you to stay in the loop with what events I'm doing and also wisdom that can really just help kind of kick you in gear for what you're looking for, because we all need that kind of little push, that little reminder. And as you can tell, I'm quite forceful. So if you're like, I need some Tasha moments, as people like to say. What I just did a talk recently, and one of the people who attended was like, oh man, I wish I could take you home with me. I hear that quite often, and I appreciate that. So if you want to take Tasha home with you, how do you do that? You subscribe to my monthly newsletter. Subscribe to the blog so you're up to date when I'm posting blogs. Go to dressingroom8.com and check out all my live streams. I try to be as transparent with my schedule as possible so that when you're like, I need a bit of Tasha, what am I doing today? I'm doing this. I'm doing something tomorrow. I'm doing something the next day. Follow along on the calendar and you will know what I'm doing. So also, if you want to book an appointment with me, you know what I'm doing when I'm doing it, guys. And then also ask yourself, and I just want you to be really honest for a moment. Do you need help with your business? Do you need help getting started? Do you need a little bit of a kickstart? If so, schedule a session with me. I do free consultations, 30-minute consultations. Go to dressingroom8.com and let's set up a time to talk. I totally want people to feel like they have a support system, whether or not we work together. But I know that I feel like I could give you that that kick in the ass that you need to get shit done, but also to what? To give you an action plan that's going to work for you when it comes to your modeling career, when it comes to getting started with your business, growing a creative business, ... There's so much innovation that is out there that people aren't thinking about, but that's why we work with others. We're not isolated islands. We work with others so that we can really get ahead and get shit done. All right. So thank you for tuning in. Tara, totally going to schedule the preservation workshop. Going to probably do that shortly now. And with that, thank you for tuning in, and come back tomorrow. I have another program, I believe. I'm doing programs all the way up until the end of this month, and then we get into February, and there's a whole other slew of programs that I'm doing. So just follow along at dressingroom8.com, and I will see you soon. Bye, loves.